The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, we got yet again another Gohma boss fight. And a lot of people were really excited to see this creature make a return in Tears of the Kingdom, and now we have a grand list of Gohma boss fights throughout the various mini Zelda games in the series. So today we are going to go through 12 different Gohma boss fights and rank them from worst to best in the series. Now some of the games I actually put together, such as The Legend of Zelda and BS The Legend of Zelda, which was more of a remake version of that, and the only way I had two of the same bosses from two different games is if the other game was a complete remake that changed how the boss battle worked. For instance, I included both the Link's Awakening and Link's Awakening remake on the Switch because both of those boss battles with the Gohmas were slightly different, and I did want to make sure that they were both covered in this video. And for instance, Ocarina of Time and Ocarina of Time 3D both don't really touch the boss battles. There's no real difference in between them, so they'll both be put together on this list. But anyways, 12 Gohma boss battles for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, stop what you're doing, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. A lot of you watching this video right now are not yet subscribed, and we are almost at 15% of you guys watching to be subscribed, so thank you so much for your recent support, and let's get into the video. Starting off this list are some Gohma boss fights or big enemies that we have not really thought about before, but yes, we got to include Link, the Faces of Evil, and the Wand of Gamelon, I think. I don't really know what these are about. But anyways, yes, the Gohmas in these games are very basic. They kind of just walk across the screen in one direction, and you're just kind of spamming your sword in order to finally defeat them. They don't really do much but walk like crabs, and they're very boring to fight. You probably wouldn't even remember them if you ever got the chance to play these games. Coming in at number 11, we have The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords, where we start to get the normal look for Gohma now, and yeah, this just isn't that great. All you have to do is shoot them with an arrow into the eye and they'll die immediately. It doesn't really feel like a mini boss or a boss at all, and feels just like an overworld enemy that you take out very quickly in the game. You probably would miss them very fast if you were playing through this casually. I love Hyrule Warriors more than the next guy, but the Gohma battle in this game wasn't anything super spectacular. All you had to do was wait for it to glow a blue glow in its eye pupil, and then boom, you shoot it with an arrow, and then it's on its knockdown state. And that's how most bosses worked in this game. This boss looks a lot cooler than it actually is, and I love the finisher animation that Link can pull off, but besides that, it's a very simplistic boss battle. All he does is just slowly spin around and also shoot that laser, which even if it hits you, it does like maybe even a half a heart of damage, but you'll already hit it with your arrow, knocking it down. It's just that simple. Number 9, we have the Gohmas from Link's Awakening. Now these move back and forth like crabs, but also have some projectiles that they shoot at you. You have to hit them multiple times in the eye in order to take them out. This isn't super hard, but this is when we start to see its true form of being more like a crab spider creature that moves back and forth, actually shooting things at you as well, making it somewhat difficult, even though it's really not that much difficult from any other enemy in the game. And number 8, we have Link's Awakening Remake on the Switch, which they not only look better, but they perform a little bit more attacks than the original version does, also switching up their patterns and charging you in different intervals, making it slightly more difficult than the original. Now, these are definitely some fun enemies to fight. They don't necessarily feel like bosses, or really even mini bosses of that case, but they definitely still can pose a challenge as their eyeballs are open for a lot shorter as well, meaning you have to have good arrow shots. Number 7, we have Cadence of Hyrule's Gohmaracas, which is an incredibly clever name, by the way, for a game about music and, you know, staying on the beat, and that's what you have to do here. Stay on the beat to make your way to the actual eye and hit it with your sword. You don't need to shoot it with an arrow or anything, which does take a little bit away from the boss, because all you have to do is get up beside it and start attacking it. His attacks are incredibly easy to read. You can see when the laser is about to shoot and when all the enemies are around you, so you really don't have to worry about timing anything down, just walking up to it and slashing it in the eye, which does make it unfortunately very easy. But what makes this higher on the list than all the others is just its creativity for having the maracas, and just having that music themed version of this boss was really cool. The Legend of Zelda and BS versions have really good boss fights against Gohma. It's one of the first times we see this creature, but it actually has a bunch of difficulty as well, as there's a room full of different fire emitters shooting balls at you that you have to dodge and get out of the way, and his eye opens up very quickly and in very small intervals, allowing you to have a perfect shot in order to hit it. You also have to lead your shots as it's moving so fast. Shooting where it's currently at will probably result in you missing. And I love this, and this is the true nature of Gohma. Lining up a really good arrow shot at its eye always feels rewarding. Now down to the final 5. Number 5, we have the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time's boss battle against Gohma in the Great Deku Tree. Now there's nothing wrong with this boss battle at all, and in fact it's really good to start the game off with. It's the very first boss of the entire game, so obviously it's not going to be as creative and as unique, but all you have to do is knock it down twice with your slingshot in order to wail on it with your sword, which odds are you're going to kill it very quickly. It's just really cool to see it creepily crawling on the ceiling and have to aim a nice shot at it, and it kind of has that callback to having to shoot an arrow shot at its eye in order to bring it down, but this time you're using a slingshot. And it's a really just fun boss battle to start the game with. It's not too hard, it's not too crazy, it just is a great way to get familiar with the controls and with the new items in this game and be able to use it in order to knock it from the ceiling. So I say this Gohma is a really great example of how Gohma should be in the future. The Oracle of Seasons boss fight actually feels like a boss fight, and it also is a really unique version compared to the rest. It has one giant claw that is able to actually throw at you as an attack, and you actually have to break it off before moving to its eye, which is really cool. But this Gohma is full of many various attacks instead of just doing one thing over and over again. It can move across the stage very fast, it can throw lots of different projectiles out of its eye at you, and once again, when it has that claw, it can throw it around the stage like a boomerang. So your shots have to be precise, and I love how the way it speeds up and slows down, throwing you off your game. This is a really good Gohma boss fight. A lot of people would put Tears of the Kingdom's Gohma boss fight towards the top at 1 or 2, but personally, I just wasn't as impressed as a lot of people were with this one. It still was really good, and I love using Yunobo in order to roll him around the arena in order to take out his legs and knock him from the ceiling. It's just actually Gohma himself. He doesn't really do much at all during this boss fight. I mean, seriously, I don't think I took an ounce of damage at all. All he does is shoot these rocks at you, and all you have to do is get your way out. I think the only time I did take damage was when he actually trapped me in a ring of rocks, and I just realized, oh yeah, I can use Yunobo to bust out of here. And that's it. He just slowly chucks some rocks at you, you bust your way out, and make your way for the eye. But still, it is a lot of fun the first couple times you play it. It does get repetitive after a while, but bringing down this giant beast and wailing on that giant eyeball definitely feels satisfying. I just felt like with him being on the ceiling, I really never had to aim any of my shots. I just randomly would roll Yunobo up the wall and it would somehow find him up there. So yeah, I just feel like it didn't take a lot of skill in order to take this guy down, and he didn't have too many fresh new attacks to make this more exciting than it could have been. When I was a kid, at least for me, I was in complete shock when I realized what I had to do in order to take out Gohma from Wind Waker. And once you throw your rope up there and grab Valu's tail in order to swing over to the next ledge and drop the rock on Gohma's head, it felt so satisfying. I absolutely loved that idea and concept, and slowly breaking apart its outer shell to reveal its insect insides. And I loved how he would lunge at you and you had to take out its eyeball and actually slice away at the eyeball. It was awesome. It was a concept that I just thought was a unique one for the first boss of the game, utilizing a giant dragon's tail in order to slowly break this guy down. To me, it was an awesome introduction to this game, and still one of the boss battles that resonate with me today. Yeah, I just loved feeling like Scorpion yelling "get over here" as I dragged his eyeball and head to me on the side of the stage in order to wail on it with my sword. And to me, the best Gohma boss battle in Zelda is Twilight Princess's Armogohma. I loved this thing. It changed its appearance to a giant creepy spider rather than a crab with an eye on its back. Your job is to shoot this eye with your bow, very similar to how you would with the other Gohmas in Zelda history, dropping it down from the ceiling and then switching to your Dominion Rod, where you will control a nearby statue in order to slam it in its stomach, which just felt so satisfying. Gohma would also drop some babies on the floor and would also shoot a giant laser beam at you from the ceiling, which you'll have to run around from. And then at the end, I love the end part where his eye actually turns into a baby spider itself and crawls around the floor, and you get to chase after it and just slice it once for it to die. And I even love the little music that goes along with it. Everything with this boss battle is creepy, it's intense, and it's a really satisfying way to take it down. I just wish we could see a remade version in a newer Zelda game, kind of like that Wii U tech demo, where it felt like Link was actually in a movie action sequence. And I just love this boss battle altogether, and of course it will be probably my favorite #1 Gohma boss battle. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with this list, and let me know where you would change this list around at and what you would include or take away from. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things The Legend of Zelda and Nintendo in general, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.